All right, everybody. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Hope you guys are doing well this morning. And we're introducing another of our weekly series videos. This one's been going on for a while now, too. And it's not really going to change too much this year. If you've been with me before, you know how this goes. Things are basically going to be the same this year. So, Pass Coverage Thursday is the name. And that name basically describes it. Every week we take a look at the individual players on the Seahawks defense and see who is giving up what in coverage. I like this series because I think it helps pinpoint and isolate issues, and it also helps pinpoint and isolate solutions. Because when you're watching a football game, it's pretty easy to get a sense of your team is getting destroyed in pass coverage. Your team is giving up a lot in coverage. But sometimes it's not so easy to figure out who is to blame and who is being credited with getting beat up. And if things are going well, sometimes that's not something that is bared out entirely in the initial viewing. Sometimes it requires closer analysis. And when you're caught up in the emotions of watching a football game that is live and you don't know how it's going to go, sometimes you just lose track of these things. Please like this video, subscribe if you're new, click the bell for notifications, become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to support the channel. There will be at least one more video later today. Actually, now that I think about it, 2 more videos. And we're also going to do the stream with the Hawks Nest, the 49ers pregame stream. That should go live in less than 3 hours. Be there, and we're going to talk about these Niners. So that is the plan for today, and should be a pretty full day. It'll be a typical Thursday, honestly. Most of the videos on Thursday are going to be kind of preordained, at least in terms of general topic. But anyway, the idea is we want to understand where the problem is coming from, if there is a problem. If this team is giving up 350 yards passing every week, and they're losing games because of it, we want to try to understand why. So we look at everything. We don't just look at like yards allowed. Targets. How often is the player getting targeted? Completions. How many completions are they giving up? If a player is getting targeted a lot and they're also giving up a lot of completions, then we as a fan base might need to understand that, look, he's giving as good as he gets, right? Like if you get targeted 10 times in a game and you give up 6 completions, it's not great, but it's very different than 6 on 6. So that difference is very, very crucial. If a player gives up 1 completion for 20 yards, but he got targeted 8 times, he's doing something very, very correct. It's very different than if you get targeted twice in a game and give up 1 completion for 20 yards. So completion percentage, total yards allowed, also air yards and yards after catch. Air yards indicates that the player is genuinely getting beat in coverage. Yak indicates more of a tackling issue and could be beyond the scope of any one player because yak is often a team responsibility. Then you have touchdowns, interceptions, QB rating allowed. All of these numbers I'm going to be taking from Pro Football Reference, which does produce different data than Pro Football Focus. We are going to be looking at Pro Football Focus data throughout the year anyway, so I think going to reference for these videos is good. And it will provide a different point of view. And sometimes they come to the same numbers, sometimes they don't. And by the way, sometimes they don't know. Sometimes they get it wrong. Especially when you're talking about something like zone coverage, sometimes it's hard to know whose responsibility it was. Sometimes it's really hard to figure it out. So don't be surprised if the 2 websites end up disagreeing a lot, and maybe they'll both get it wrong. Before I go any further, I want to tell you about my friends over at Sleeper. If you're not using the Sleeper app, you are missing out. Take a look at all the great things you can do over there. Let's get to my picks for the week, my entry. I've got Dak Prescott as my free pick. He goes over 1 yard, then I'm good there. So we got Dak Prescott, at least 1 passing yard tonight. Jalen Hurts, 175 or more. I think that's going to be a shootout tonight. Dallas just traded their best pass rusher, and they acquired a run stopper for him. So I think there's going to be a lot of passing tonight. So give me the over. I have the under on Mahomes passing yards. I think that Chargers defense is going to make a big statement on primetime. And then Omarion Hampton, I have not getting into the end zone with a rushing touchdown in his first ever NFL game. So go make your picks over on Sleeper. Use promo code SBN to get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. But yeah, that's really the long and short of it. We're going to do linebackers. In years past, the linebacker position has been one where the Seahawks have had a lot of trouble. So always like to see if the linebackers are holding their own in coverage. We've had years where we've had guys give up close to 1,000 yards in a season at the linebacker spot. So always worth monitoring. Edge rusher. This one's always kind of interesting because the edge rushers are not in coverage all that often. And when they are, I think it's useful to get an idea of whether or not that's a liability or not. Is that actually a problem? Or is it just kind of a fluky thing that crops up every now and then? And by the way, obviously anybody who ends up playing significant snaps for the Seahawks this year will get added to this list eventually. Like, let's say we pick up a linebacker midway through the season and he ends up playing a couple hundred snaps. He would obviously get added here, but we're not going to worry about that right now. We're going to worry about that when that player actually comes into existence. Cornerbacks, obviously things get a lot more intriguing when you get back to the cornerbacks because those are the guys who are going to be consistently targeted. And we have big decisions coming up on these players, right? Witherspoon is eligible for an extension next year. Woolen, his contract is expiring at the end of this season. Job, obviously not somebody that people are thinking about a lot right now, but he had a one-year deal, so this season is the season we got to figure out what we think about him. Pritchett, he's still on his rookie deal, so that's fine, and Shaq Griffin's a veteran. By the way, currently Shaq Griffin, I think, is on the practice squad, but we all know he's going to be up on the team at some point, so we'll just put him here. But we have some big decisions to make here, and we need these guys to come through. Safeties, Julian Love, Kobe Bryant, Emin Wari, and obviously we know that Emin Wari is probably going to be playing a lot of corner this year, but it doesn't really matter where we put these players positionally. It just matters how they do in coverage. Ty Okada also hanging around here. And that's really about it. There's not too much else to say here. I don't have any firm predictions for these categories, honestly. Well, I have a few for cornerback, I guess, but it's really hard to project this stuff. So this is a series where it's more just about kick back, see what happens, see what we can learn going from week to week. That's the important part. We're not going to get caught up in one or two games. It's going to be a body of work that we're tracking here. So let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys later. Short video here because we don't have any data to go over yet. Should have some data next week. And yeah. This is the kind of stuff that I like to pay attention to. It's the things that are easy to lose track of as you watch games. All right, another video coming in a couple hours, streaming with the Hawks Nest in a few hours. You guys know the drill. Thursday is going to typically be like this, so expect this video most Thursday mornings, and then we're going to have a couple more videos that are typically going to come out on Thursdays, but more on that later. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks.